Dear colleagues, dear friends, I must admit I am so happy to be here in Riva for a conference on the Bell Beakers. Many thanks to Franco and Volker for this initiative and for their invitation. 25 years ago, during the Bell Beaker conference, always Bell Beakers, always in Riva, organized by Franco Nicolis, Franco again, I was a young researcher doing my PhD under Alain Gallet's supervisions, to whom I must pay homage here. I remember this conference. We each spoke our own language. There were simultaneous translation without PowerPoint, but with many, many transparents. I am no longer a student, and we all speak English now, each with our own accent and pronunciation. I'm very happy to be here and to see so many friends and colleagues. I'm also very happy to see that some of my previous students are presenting their research today. And looking at all of you, I have the impression of my library coming alive, and which makes me truly happy. Today, I would like to talk about the Mont Blanc, the mountain Mont Blanc, and the Bell Beaker occupation around it. I want to present the research conducted in this area and the research that will be done in the coming years. It is therefore a presentation on ongoing thinking, which I hope will be enriched by the various conferences of these days and the constructive discussions we will have. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Mont Blanc and the Bell Beaker. I will focus on three particular Bell Beaker sites around the Mont Blanc. They are located in the Alps Valley in France, the Pink Star, the Rhone Valley in Switzerland, the Green Star, and the Val d'Aosta in Italy, the blue one. They are collective tombs, megalithic tombs, collective tombs, presenting a similar architecture with a triangular-shaped cairn to give this tomb their monumentality. We will consider the dolmen of La Pierre-aux-Fées in the Alps Valley in France, the necropolis of Petit-Chasseur in the Rhone Valley in Switzerland, and the necropolis of Saint-Martin-de-Corléans in the Val d'Aosta in Italy. Let's take a look at these sites. This is an old picture of the dolmen of La Pierre-aux-Fées in the Alps Valley. It is not very well preserved, and the excavation dates back to the early 20th century. There is almost no documentation left. Today, this dolmen has been renovated and consolidated during a road construction nearby. We see here that there are massive blocks in front of the funeral chambers, blocks forming two lines suggesting a triangular shape. In this plan, from the architectural study of Pierre-Jérôme Rey, this triangular shape is clear, and it is formed by massive blocks. He brought forward the idea that several blocks were reused. This reuse is perceptible through the relatively large incisions visible here, which must have been useful in placing the stones in the prior organization of the construction. They do not match the architectural phase to the dolmen is in today. Here is the Upper Rhone Valley in Switzerland, where we observe final Neolithic occupation, Bell Beakers, early Bronze Age, with settlements and necropoles. Here, the most important site is the necropolis of the Petit-Chasseur site, the Red Star. The occupation of the settlements are 2 centuries, sometimes perhaps 3. In blue, you see the final Neolithic occupation, in orange, the Bell Beaker ones, and in gray, the early Bronze Age. Those are relatively short-term occupations, as you can see. In parallel, the necropole of Petit-Chasseur is used during over 1 millennia, from the pre-Bell Beaker final Neolithic all the way through the Bell Beaker period and the early Bronze Age. This site has been occupied a long time. Here you can see the evolution in the architecture of this site, from the dolmen with a shaped triangular cairn to the coffer from the Bell Beaker culture and the single grave of the Bronze Age. This is the same situation concerning the pottery. You can see the evolution with here, during the Bell Beaker, the specific beaker, as we know very well. Concerning the lithic industry, there is the evolution with, during the final Neolithic, we have some blades from the Grand Pressini, and very small arrowhead segment de cercle, small circles during the during the Bell Beaker culture, and some specific industry for the early Bronze Age. And for the copper, for the final Neolithic, we do not have objects in copper, but we have some representation of the stele. As you can see, the dagger comparing the Remedello dagger that we find in the north of Italy. And we have a discussion this morning on the Remedello culture. So during the Bell Beaker culture, we have only one hole in copper. Okay, so the necropolis of the Petit Chasseur, there are 12 megalithic tombs. Around 2 of these, we see a triangular cairn that gives a monumental aspect to these collective tombs. So this is the map of the Petit Chasseur site. So here we already see this picture with the communication of maybe, yeah, you, Martin, exactly. This is an assemblage of the Bell Beaker occupation with beaker, with arrowhead, with ornament in silver, in bones, and so on. So, okay, so this is quite, well, we know very well this assemblage. We already know that. Okay, so now let's talk about the Valdausa site, the necropolis of Saint-Martin-de-Corléans. There is also many megalithic coffers. Those are collective burials. One is surrounded by a triangular shaped cairn, exactly the same situation as the Sion. And a stele alignment was also identified, as can be seen on the figure on the right. Well, okay, you can see. Here there are some pictures of these monuments with coffer and the triangular shaped cairn. And here a specific picture on the chamber, sepulchral chamber, on the beakers and other ornaments, bones, fay button, and the beaker, decorated beakers. Okay. So concerning these 3 sites, here are the important points, in my opinion, to remember that they have the same chronological occupation during the sub-millennium for a long time, a millennium. They use megalithism to shape the territory in the same way. They present a similar architecture, and they have similarities in the material culture. And Mark, yes, I assume the similarity and the description. So in 2 of these 3 sites, engraved steles have been brought to light. They are interesting in many ways. Beyond the symbolism represented on these steles with various people or the sun, what is fascinating is their similarities shared across both sites, despite these sites being in different valleys, today different countries, in Upper Rhône Valley and the Val d'Aosta. In the Saint-Martin-de-Corléans site, we are talking about 46 steles found, often in a reuse context. they are whole or fragmented. So here you have some example more here with a very anthropomorphic profile, as you can see. Yes, this is well known, I think so. We can see something? Merde. Okay. So we can see here the hand, the anthropomorphic, yeah. And here with the double spiral, you can see here in front of the stele. A detail of the engraving here with a very good and precise decoration. Here the hand at the left. Concerning the Petit Chasseur, we already see this picture this morning with the Folker communication. There are so beautiful steles with sun and with decoration, with geometric decoration and with anthropomorphic characteristics. This is exactly the same situation with the anthropomorphic profile, with the hand, with the bow, and on the left with a double spiral, and the dagger as well. Okay, another example. Here at the right, you can see a reused stele to construct a coffer. Okay. Here we can see a couple of new sites that have yielded steles, the Petit Chasseur 6, here in the center of the illustration, on Don Bosco, a new dolmen. And we can notice the alignment with the other sites, the Petit Chasseur 1 and the Petit Chasseur 2. This is the Petit Chasseur 3. This is exactly in the same alignment. So here a picture of the Don Bosco, the dolmen of Don Bosco, discovery in 2018. And the following year, an alignment of steles, and some of them ornamented, were found and excavated. To the right, here, we see a stele that turn out to have engravings on the side down face. Between Petit Chasseur and Don Bosco, it is 8 new steles that were discovered, with a good position and precise chronology. It was when Florian Cousseau, who is a postdoc in my laboratory and with my strong support, initiated a study protocol for engraved steles. For this protocol, the idea is to study very carefully the surface of the steles, very slowly and delicately, for sure, to ensure no damage to the engravings. A team composed of archaeologists, restorers, specialists in megalithism, and various other specialists was formed. These observations were made in a depot very close to the site. The agglomerated sediments are very slowly, very carefully removed. In this illustration, you can see the same stele after the excavation on the left and after the restoration work on the right. And you can see here on the right, double spiral. One here, double spiral, another here, and here there is another. Maybe it's not so visible, but there are. And another important point was to attend the identification of pigments, as was the case in other megalith monuments in Spain or France, for example. and Florian Cousseau and I asked Professor Primitiva Bueno Ramirez of the University of Alcalá in Spain to collaborate with us, and the analyses are ongoing. We see the sun here. On the topic, yeah. On the apex of the stele, again, and other geometric shapes, again. Regarding the steles, here are the important points. We see the same stele in the Val d'Aosta in the upper Rhone Valley, and this is not new. This is very well known, already known. They are the same size, they are the same profiles, the same ornamentation, and yeah, this is very important. This is a very important point. Okay, now concerning the population, what can we say on the population? So there are two main burial types observed during the middle, final, and Bell Beaker occupation in Switzerland, type of burial. And the Shopland site ceased at the left. This is a stone coffer containing 1, 2, or several individuals. On the dolmen, the most famous sepulture tombs of the Petit Chasseur site, and with at the right the steles. Here are the principal burial sites of the middle, final, and Bell Beaker period in the Vaud and Valais canton. This is the west part of the Switzerland. You can see here the types of bone lesions that were evaluated by Claudine Abegg, one of my previous PhD students. And they represent major pathology types: metabolic disease, infectious disease, degenerative disease, congenital anomalies, and trauma. Trauma is not disease, but there are some trauma as well. There is an augmentation in degenerative condition over time. It could mean more intense physical activity or perhaps more specialized repetitive movements. And we don't know exactly, we don't know yet, but we will try to find out. And similar to degenerative disease, the Schmaltz nodes, which represent an augmentation of stress on the spine, also augment over time. There seems to be an upsurge in inflammation and infection in the Bell Beaker group. This is not surprising, as it is present in Italy, in France, in Germany, Austria during the same period, but it is the first time in Switzerland during the Bell Beaker period. About the surge in infection, we seem to witness many signs of the presence of infectious disease as endemic in the Bell Beaker population, possibly and probably tuberculosis. Concerning the genetics, the paleogenetics, we don't know yet around the Mont Blanc, but in other megalith or not megalith sites, with paleogenetics, we can work on can chiplings, as we know. And some results seem to show a patrilinear system with a patrilocality as well. What is known already around the Mont Blanc is that the people placed in the dolmen represent a selection within the population, representing a lineage holding some form of power. Interdisciplinary research is very much needed to clarify who these people were and how they organized their society during the Bell Beaker period. Paleopathology, isopath analysis, in particular the strontium, and paleogenetic, we will see what happens around the Mont Blanc in the next few years. Okay, this is where my current research projects comes in. To look at a bell-shaped beaker in all its complexity, we need to take a look at the techniques used to make them, the raw material and their provenance, and the stylistic decoration, So the next communication of F. Doren and Delia Carnani will show you this specific topic. And the same is true for the steles and jewelry. And the same for the people. So we need to look at their genetic links, but also their demography and their health, for example. So the similarities are not an accident between all these three valleys around the Mont Blanc. There must have been important links between these three valleys, and I would like to identify the types of the link. So here we can see the similarity between steles, between architecture, between pottery, and between lithic industry, as I showed you just before. This is very important similarities. And we can say for each site that this is on a site. On the site, this is a creation and consolidation of links between the communities. This is important links between the three valleys with maybe migration of people. This is a question, and which person? And maybe the circulation of artifacts, ideas, and know-how. For each site, this is very important so this is a long time occupation during more than 1 millennium. So we go on the site and we come back and we come back and we come back again during a long time. So this is a place where we can exchange, we can communicate, we can share values, ideas, and for the exchange, we can have many different type of exchange. For sure, this is a place for the power and for the decision. Considering that in the dolmens, in the megalith necropolis, we are in presence of a selected population where we have, but we don't know for the Mont Blanc, or on the Mont Blanc, but we will see, but maybe we have the patrilinearity with a patrilocality, yeah, we will see, yeah? And maybe with an exogamy of women, but we know that there are infectious diseases. So this is, we know that there is we know that this is it's a place of exchange, of the communication. Yeah. Okay. So as we know, Bell Beaker culture, this is a complex social organization. This is not a simply organization. This is we are with a hierarchy. There are chiefdom and the population, but we don't know exactly how this population is organized. And we know that the production on many different craftsmanship, there is a big, great variability in the production of this. And we have common craftsmanship that we know. They need no specific know-how to make the artifact. And we have some specialized craftsmanship. And it's important to have a specialized know-how to produce specific artifact. And for example, and this is an hypothesis to work for the future, steles, decorated pottery, specific metal production. Okay, we can define specialized craftspeople as people with a specialized know-how that only a few individuals master. And this is exactly what I would like to identify. So, I wonder as well about the status of place within society of these specialized craftspeople. Are they simply in an intermediary position between people in power on the rest of the population. I don't think that it is simple, and I would like to invite you to present the research conducted by Jessica Ryan-Despraz, one of my previous PhD students. So Jessica questioned how to identify specialization within Neolithic societies. And she worked on the bones, on activity marked on the bone. And she participated in different groups of research. And all of these studies attempt to interpret daily life and behavior based on morphological, skeletal changes. And here we have a focus on the artery, the third one. So we know that physical activity, in particular resistance exercise, influences bone development. It could therefore be possible to read the skeleton for indicators of specialized activity and behavior. The question is, can we use this to assess specialization, behavior, and daily life in archaeological collections? Jessica looked to apply such methods to Bell Beaker inhumation of the Eastern Complex. Specifically, she looked at archers' burials. An archer burial means that the individual was buried with one or several items related to archery: wrist guard, arrowhead, bow-shaped pendant. Her goal were to generally compare the skeletal morphology of archers and non-archer, and second, to examine the archer individually for signs of muscular development linked to specialized archery. She did this by studying biomechanics with respect to changes of the bone's surface, specifically at anthesis. So it is worth noting that the non-archer burials tended to be more poor in terms of burial object quantity as well as quality, if we can say like this, with a few ceramics but no metal, for example. And the non-archer burials tended to be less prestigious in terms of both grave goods, quality and quantity, and in this study, that corresponded to more signs of muscular development. And some non-archer could have been specialized archer. So I must here underline that the expression of the representation of specialization, here the identification of archery, is very complex, and social organization is more complex than we think in general. Regarding this complexity, I would like to reflect on the role specialized craftspeople occupied within their societies, allowing us to better comprehend their organization and their technical, economical, and social functioning. For that purpose, I will refer to two theoretical frameworks allowing me to discuss complex social organization. The first one is hierarchy, which is already well known and which I already mentioned. And the second is that of heterarchy, which refers to complex systems where the different parts of society are all interconnected. And during the 5 year next year, I would like to pursue my reflection and research on this topic with three main research questions. Are specialized craftspeople present in the Alps during the Bell Beaker occupation to produce engraved steles, decorated beakers, jewelry, gold, silver, copper maybe? The second, are these craftspeople itinerant around the Mont Blanc? And the third, what place, excuse me, and the third question is, what place do they have within their society? To complete this project, I have the support of the Swiss National Science Foundation for 5 years, and I would like to thank all people who support this application and colleagues who already accepted to collaborate to this project. And for the results, see you in 5 years. And thank you very much for your attention.